Wow, Jens, it's here.
It is.
It's like, wow, there's a light to the end of the tunnel.
It is real.
Let's talk about it. Let's just get right into it. I have the EVF snap, and you have the EVF flip.
Right.
And let's talk about some of the cool features of this thing. So this one in the EVF snap, you get the EVF with optics, and you get a mount. You get a really cool custom twisty cable. You get a battery, a rechargeable 5D battery.
Right.
This is your charger, and I love these kind of chargers because they're much easier. You don't have the cables and all that crap.
Yeah,
you just boom, plug it in the wall.
Yep,
now you got to know, you got to take that foam out, and when you do, you have your cable, anti-static screen cleaner, and then you have our really cool bag with the Velcro here so that you can put it on your belt loop. And then this is this incredible manual that you made and are so proud of, which you should be, because I mean, it really is an amazing...
Well, it seems like these days, all you get is quick starts, and then you got to go to the computer and look it up. I mean, I'd rather have at least all the basic, information in there. Obviously, as time goes on and we improve things and add features, you'll have to check the updates online, but that is the gist of it there.
Okay, and that package is around $800. The competitor that's on the market right now's unit is give or take $20 in that same range, with the same physical features, except it's missing some intense features.
The biggest one I think it's missing compared to ours is the ability to upgrade it with firmware updates. So we'll be able to add future features, any other sort of debugging, anything like that. If people have a problem with it, we'll be able to diagnose that.
Yeah, there's a USB on the bottom here, and you take a zip drive that you format it a special way, which we tell you how to do. You download the file, bippity-boppity-boo, it's in there.
So if you have a unit that's not upgradable, you're stuck with how it was at that time. You can't get any new features.
Yeah, and we are going to be working on new features.
All the time, yeah.
Okay, so the other biggest feature that I see that's unique and different about our EVF is our scalability. You can use these in 3 different ways, actually. The standard way is with the pillar boxing, and when you have the pillar boxing, you see what aperture you're at, if you have any exposure compensation, maybe your shutter speed.
Yeah, some may choose to want to use that and see that on there, but
but know that you're getting black bars on the left and right by doing that.
When you're dealing with a 5D, you know that when you hit roll and it drops into 480, the image gets squeezed and a little bit smaller. With ours, you'll be able to hit the 5D preset and have that in there, so not only will it compensate for that squeeze that happens when you drop to 480, but it'll keep that size and it'll also keep you full frame. The entire video image will be edge to edge of the viewfinder, and you're utilizing your entire screen then inside there.
Yeah.
So that's what that preset has, is that it not only expands it out to edge, it also compensates for that format change down to 480.
Now, you can work in that mode, but you lose the ability to see your exposure compensation and things like that. You'd have to look down here on the camera to do that.
Some people may say that, well, then I'll lose the ability to see if I'm recording. But the aspect ratio of our screen is slightly taller than 16:9, so you'll still end up seeing the record light up in the corner.
Yeah, like a half moon of it.
Yeah, which is just perfect, actually.
And then the third mode that we haven't really talked about is this ability to completely custom scale your screen without changing the aspect ratio.
Yeah, so you can literally dial in a size that you want your frame to be. Like there's for the 5D, I actually like to bring it out almost to the edges where I can still see some of the information at the bottom and then slide it up a little bit. So it's totally customizable where you put your video image.
Yeah, that is really cool. And then you can save that as a Jens 05 setting, and then when you turn the thing on next time, you've got that. How many can you actually save?
Right now, at this moment, there's 4 personal presets you can set. But I mean, there's a whole list of camera types and brands that we have in there. So and of course that can change. Right.
Some guys sent us emails while we were in the process, and I think it was really valuable. Some of these features we've added, like the anamorphic.
Right. Yeah, that was cool. You'll have the ability to unsqueeze, if you want to call it that, the 3 most popular anamorphic ratios. There's the 2x, the 1.5x, and the 1.33x. And you simply go into the anamorphic setting on the menu there, and if you have that lens on and hit it, it will do the unsqueeze for you. So it opens it up to those lenses, which is nice.
Right. So let's talk about some of these frame line generators so that if you decide you want to shoot 16 by 9, 15 by 9, 4:3, 185.
Right, and 235. Those are all in there, along with their safe zones. And you can have a center cross, or you could do the grid. There's a number of things you can do in there.
Now, can you have the, because like for web use, I don't use this safe idea anymore. There is no more action safe, title safe, or any of that crap. So can you shut off that action safe?
Yes, of course, yeah. And there's different combinations. So you can have, what I thought might be a very common one, of course, is 16 by 9 with the 4:3 safe inside, in case you're still protecting for standard def.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then safe marks inside that as well. So
That's awesome.
there's any number of combinations that you can do.
So let's talk about more features. Color bars.
Yeah, I got to have color bars in there, you know.
Yeah.
And
the proper way to set up color bars.
right, and there's going to be a little video on our site soon that gives you a nice tutorial of how to use color bars and how to set it up using the other features that are in here, the blue gun only and the monochrome. All right, I want to talk about the exposure assist right now. A lot of people and a lot of monitors use this false color, which I thought was really kind of stupid for an EVF, because there's no way you can operate a shot when you have this whole Mars-looking scene going on. So we went back to what I've been using for 30 years, and that's the zebras in there. In ours, you have 2 directions of zebras, and you can set them at any IRE point you want. Typically, the first one might be at 70, or at skin tone if you want, and the other one at 100, so you know when you're about to clip.
Yeah.
And they'll show up as your exposure gets to that point. So to me, that's the easiest to use while you're operating, which is important because it is a viewfinder for that, you know, in fact. So
Right.
that's the one thing. In the focus assist that we decided to use, it's the focus assist that I've also been using for 30 years now or so. It's the more traditional peaking. It enhances the edges that become in focus. It doesn't add that red line kind of thing, which to me, you know, as an old timer, if you call it, is sort of irritating in a way. You know, I just want to know when the edge gets sharp. It's just sharpening, enhancing. You know, it's something that's been used with professional cameras for forever. So
Yeah.
that's the direction we chose.
Personally, I still like the thing on the camera that blows it up 5 times, focus super fast,
Yeah.
and then kick that button off.
We have that option as well. Obviously, the camera can do it and it puts it through the monitor, but we also have a pixel-to-pixel feature in ours. So
And now, what about assigning these features to these buttons on the side?
I was going to mention that. As you see on the side, there's 3 buttons that are capable of you can assign any of your favorite features to. So then immediately you can just hit that button and it'll pop up. So whether that's, you know, the focus assist or the exposure assist or your pixel to pixel, it's instant.
Oh, now what about this business I heard you talking about, the engineers, where when you power down the monitor and you power it back up, it's the same way it was when you powered it down?
Yeah, I mean, it has that, I forget what the type of memory they call it, but once it's programmed in there and you shut it off, it saves it to that RAM, I guess.
Right, so you don't have to reset this up once you turn it.
No, but I mean, of course, we have a factory default setting. You can go back in there and get back to, you know, to the way we delivered it to you if you want.
Cool.
One of the first things that you noticed when I flipped it on just recently is how it compares to that $2,000 monitor we had sitting right next to us.
Yes, it was
And then
shocking.
I hadn't really done a side-by-side comparison until you did that, and it was pretty surprising. I actually liked the color and how it was, you know, everything rendered on it better than that $2,000 monitor.
I know, I agree with you. It was shockingly sharp. I mean, the dot pitch on this screen is very different from the dot pitch on the back of the screen. And
also the color accuracy is what really sort of got me too.
Yeah.
It was right on, man. I was just right out of the box.
we've been studying it with the Macbeth chart, and the salmon red combo, the hardest combo to ever get on a
Discern the two, right?
right, is very discernible in here.
Right.
Now, when you go into the color menu, and this is something that I really love about it. I mean, I've never had this level of color control. But you not only have chrominance, which is the normal color on, color off amount of color.
You're
yeah,
getting it, right?
this RGB where you can actually take a little green out. There was a moment where we noodled with it and we took a little green out and zeroed it back there. But having that ability allows you to fine tune the difference between that salmon and that red, especially that you have it on all 3 channels.
Right.
That's not really common in a monitor.
No, this comes in handy if this is your only monitor in the field, so that you know you're getting accurate color and you can really check it. I want to talk about the performance of this thing. Everybody seems to talk about speed and switching and things like that in here. I'm pretty proud about how fast we got our switching. I'll show you right here. Right now, of course, we're in 1080i on this 5D. And when I hit the button and switch to 480p, you'll see it's less than a second. That's the fastest in the West.
There you go, man.
Fastest anywhere, I should
That's
say.
the switching in the West.
All right, I'll switch back to 1080i.
And the other thing that
480p.
you'll notice is look at the aspect ratio. It's completely unsquashed. It's the exact same size as the 1080, so you don't even really notice that you've switched from 1080 to 480.
If you blink, you'll miss the change.
Right.
There's none of those long waits anymore. Also, you happen to be seeing it in our 5D preset, so it's edge to edge, just using the full width of our panel.
Right.
And that gets us into resolution.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about resolution. We had some weird last couple of days there where we were looking at the 480p and the 1080i, and it's astounding that there's not really any difference between the look of 480p and 1080i.
It's really imperceptible. At least with our panel here, you can use it as a focusing device easily. I was afraid back when this whole project started, I said, oh, if it dumps down to 480, man, are people going to be able to focus this thing?
People need to know it is, they can call me on this, man. You get this thing, if you don't think that it is imperceptible, send it back. Part of the reason why I think it is because you're looking, where these resolutions make a big difference is when you blow this thing up to a huge screen. You're looking at a 3-inch screen. Or around 3 inches. And all these resolutions don't really matter at that size. I mean, the difference between 1080 and 480, that's half the size.
Right. So what you're getting at is when people are saying, oh, this other panel is 900 and something to your 800, you're never going to see that difference.
I don't think people should get hung up on all these numbers. The bigger thing I've noticed is the way in which your dots look.
It's the dot pitch. The space between the dots are greater on most panels than on this one that we chose. Our dot pitch is really narrow so that the dots seem like they're on top of each other, close together.
Right.
And you don't see the cross hatching. In an upcoming firmware upgrade after our initial release, there's going to be the ability to check audio meters, to see audio meters in our EVF.
Right, but we're generating the audio meters. Let's talk about some other features that are unique to our EVFs.
One of the basic things I think to show as we talked about is how long will it last on a battery charge.
Yeah, that was shocking.
Right. It actually worked out better than we thought. We were shooting for the 3-hour range, but actually this battery with video pumping into it lasts 5+ hours.
Right, but let's clarify that. So in a normal day, if you turn this on and you're seeing video on the back of your screen, it'll last 5+ hours before it dies. But that's not normal. I mean, when you shoot, you turn the thing off when you're not using it, you turn it back on.
There's lunch breaks, there's whatever.
So odds are, this single battery charge might last you an entire 8-hour or 8+ hour day.
Could easily, yeah.
Which is unheard of. The idea of going with AA's or 9 volts, first off, those are only going to last about a 9-hour.
If that. I mean, that's even unproven. I haven't seen any information on that, but it's also wasteful and expensive after a while.
Yeah, I mean, people really need to add that into the cost factor when they're saying, oh, ours is more expensive than others. I did some simple math showing that, you know, you could use up to $200 in disposable batteries a year depending on how many days you're shooting.
Right.
Some people have been calling this thing a fake battery. This is not a fake battery.
It's not a battery.
No, this is a 12-volt power converter.
Right.
And what you can do with this is, you can see you got a D-tap on one end, and this goes in place of our Canon battery there. And you can power your camera with this, actually. You can power the EVF with this.
That's available in the store.
I want to talk about the different ways you use this monitor. This is what we're calling, for a better lack of a term, the Hasselblad setup. Because in the old days, when, you know, if you're a photo shooter, when you had a Hasselblad, you would hold it like this, and you would look down at a 45. Sometimes you would hold it even a little lower like this. I have seen other people doing a thing where they're doing their offset here, and your eye is like here, and you're working your hands here. That is incredibly uncomfortable, even for me right now.
Part of the point, though, of shooting with just the EVF on a camera is a small profile. You're just making it a little bit bigger and bulkier by coming off to the side anyway.
Right, it's not necessary. The only time you ever need to come off the side is if it's on your shoulder.
Right.
Okay, so this is our new Scorpion rig. And here you can see it's on his shoulder, and now the camera is totally in line. You can see it's in perfect alignment there, which is great, and his head is off to the side like it's supposed to be. This mount, which is our tri-mount kit, when you turn this lever, the EVF pops off.
And it pops onto this one.
The idea here is that you can quickly go to various different shooting modes by flipping the lever, popping it off. You don't have to unscrew any of this stuff. It's like all the other Zacuto gear. And then the third way that you got to mount it, which nobody is showing this, I can't believe it. This, to me, is the only way I would shoot on a tripod, is with what we're calling the extender viewfinder mount, because we're accustomed to, on a motion picture camera, you would use an extender viewfinder.
Yeah, you're not hunched over the camera anymore.
Right.
Or if you're on a dolly, of course, and
Yeah.
you're sitting back farther, you can't get that close to the camera. It's much more comfortable to shoot with an extension like that.
It's important to mention, I think, that some of the components obviously have come from foreign countries. You know, we are a made in the USA company, but you cannot make a panel in the USA. You cannot. Some of the components do come from abroad.
Of course, a lot of the chips and things like that, right?
But it's important to know that all of the board soldering, all of the components, the entire manufacturing process, the tooling to build the case, the actual molded case, everything is done in the U.S. here in a facility 2 hours from here. As our contract manufacturer.
Exactly.
Our engineers were all here in the United States. Let's talk about the grade of materials that we use.
Let me just start a little bit with the shape. The shape of it, as you might notice, it kind of has like sort of a muscular look to it and some knuckles on the side. That's all kind of protection and thickening the ABS plastic, which ABS plastic is strong and flexible in itself and can really take a drop, as you're going to see later. But not only that, we use a heavy thickness of the ABS plastic, unlike a lot of other standard thicknesses which toys are made of.
It's consumer grade. This is not. This is professional grade.
Then inside though, and some of that you can see just on the outside, is that our connectors are screwed into this hard case. They're not soldered directly and supported directly by the board.
Yeah, that is a living nightmare.
That is a huge thing.
You start wiggling on that cable and you are going to detach it from the board.
Right. So that's.
And I have heard that happening with this particular connector in general. We are using the large HDMI, which has more leverage. You know, it's a much better connection. I mean, this mini one here.
Yeah, it won't wear out as like the mini would, but it's also a little bit larger, which helps its own strength of the cable and its connections. But our female end of it is bolted into the chassis. If you want to call
do
it.
not go mini. These mini things are
a nightmare, as I'm sure they already know. Now, what you can't see inside, though, is a lot of these pillars that you're talking about. There's many of them that go from top to bottom and connect the two sides and encase that board. So that board's not going anywhere. It's in there solid. It's not just floating like in a lot of light-duty electronics.
Right. Okay, so why don't we go off and do some of this testing? And
It's the fun part.
Yeah, and we'll see how it survives. Okay, today we're going to try it again because some people questioned whether I should have the battery on the drop test before I do the drop. Well, all things fall at the same rate, but regardless, I am going to do it. Here's the battery on it. There is the image. You can see him. He's moving the camera. I'm just going to unplug this, and here we go. Whoa, crawling up the ladder here. Okay, here's the 10-foot level. Here's the 12-foot level. All right. Let's see how it works. Battery popped off, but we're going to put it back on. Keep it up in the thing. All right, here we go. Let me plug it in. There you go. Perfect picture. Now, let's do it again. Let's really make sure we get the point across. Here we are, 10-foot level. We're going to the 12-foot level. Woo! That was nice.
Should we go for 3? Cut that.